Welcome back to the Shine Within podcast. Yanira Puy is a wellness advocate, international speaker, and founder of Yanira Puy Health and Wellness. With over 20 years of experience in corporate America and a master's in business from Emory University, Yanira pivoted her career to empower women to thrive through holistic well-being. A certified wellness coach and brain health trainer, she has impacted thousands globally through her coaching, workshops, podcasts, and conferences. Originally from Venezuela, Janeta is passionate about helping individuals cultivate resilience, self-care, and a positive mindset to create lives filled with energy, purpose, and joy. Thank you so much for being on my show today. You're amazing, gorgeous, and I am so excited to speak with you.
Thank you for having me, Gina. I'm so excited. I've been looking forward to this interview for over a month. So I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. So, Janetta, if you can just go ahead and share your journey from 20 years in corporate America to becoming a wellness advocate and international speaker.
Oh, wow. I was really happy in corporate America until I really wasn't. And I always tried, Gina, to find my purpose in what I was doing. I was working at Turner Broadcasting System, which is now Warner Bros. Discovery, but brands like CNN, Cartoon Network, TNT. I had like a dream job, right? But one day I woke up and I think it was 2013. And I'm like, I don't know, like I really want to make an impact in the world. And you know what happens, Gina, when you put in the universe, when you ask a question or when you think about something and you want the answers and the universe came back to me. I remember it was the beginning of 2014 and I was walking with my friend in Venezuela and he's like, well, you know what? There's this institute called Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and you can become a health coach. February, I sign up, I study for a year, which was great because I was, in the VIP rooms, in the airports, because I was still working, but I was studying. And I was doing something that I really liked. So I finished that in 2015 and I kept working. Just because sometimes we don't want to make decisions in life. However, it was perfect because I'm like, all right, I think I need another master. And I got back to school to get a master in health coaching. That was great. And then by the end of 2018, I think, I had all the tools and my company was restructuring. And okay, this is it. 2019, it was all right. So let me keep studying. I had a husband, so we were traveling. I was doing things that I never did before, like not working at all. And I started working with a coach in Colombia. And when 2020 came, Gina, I was like, all right, this is the year. And then, of course, pandemic hit. But pandemic was amazing, Gina, because I started producing lots of content. I started helping lots of people around the world, especially in the United States and Latin America, with webinars, classes every Friday, because everybody were, in their homes. They couldn't go out and everything. And when I decided in 2021 that I was going to do this as my business, I got divorced. And it's like, Gina, like life hits you with not a ball, but like a big snowball. And even though it took some time, to put myself together again, because adversity comes and maybe sometimes you don't know, but I had the right tools with all the studies that I did. And because I knew what to do. And right now I empower women and I guide them to create the life that they deserve with lots of physical and mental and energy. So that's a little bit of my journey in 20 years.
That's wonderful. I realized for myself too that that pause in 2020 really opened up and made people realize, you know what? I'm not really wanting to stay in the corporate America. I'm not really wanting to stay on this path that I'm on. They want to do something different. And I'm talking about myself, okay? I mean, yes, I still work at the Four Seasons one day a week though, but it's because I love it there. I've been there 17 years. I work in the spa there. I was a massage
Oh,
therapist.
that's great.
Yeah, I love it. But I learned so much in 2020. I was really focusing on cooking,
Mhm.
gardening, I wanted to
Yeah.
learn more about my passions. And then what really got me was taking these master classes into then creating my own business, and which
Mhm.
was amazing. So those pauses create wonderful things. I'm telling you, we really need to be still sometimes in order for us to move forward.
They do. And about that, sometimes there are two things that I love about adversity right now. And sometimes, like, I don't say that anymore because every time I say something to the universe, it comes. But I was like, okay, so I'm ready for the next adversity. And then I'm like, no, 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 no. Like, really, no, it's fine. It's fine. Because I mean, it takes a toll on you. However, if you focus on the pain, you're going to be suffering. But if you focus on the lesson, you're going to keep growing and learning. And I love that. And I usually recommend people when things happen, don't ask why and don't be a victim. Or, I mean, do your best not to be a victim because, I mean, my dog died the day that I moved. So I was like, really? Like, I'm going through so much and this happened. But when you start asking you instead of why me, like what for? Because as Tony Robbins and many people say, like life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. And when you understand that, and when you see all the impact that you can have with everything that you've learned, then you realize, oh, now I know why or what for. So don't wait until that happens. I know it's painful, and it's okay to be in pain. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be angry. But as soon as you can internalize that and then move forward, that's when the beauty happens, right?
Yes, it does. Magic happens. Yeah. I wanted to talk about wellness and self-care. What is the self-care blueprint, and how can listeners apply it? 7 tips for a healthier, happier life.
Yay! Okay, so I love frameworks. This is how my head works. If you have a framework and how it works, it's better. And this is something that I have applied for me every time. And it's not like something has to happen, right? But for me to be better, for me to be my best version, for me to thrive in life, there's several things that I do every single day. So one thing, Gina, it's the body, right? So I'm almost 52 years old, and people are like, are you sure? Like, you're not 38, 40? I mean, I think they're exaggerating. Maybe they want something from me. However, I do feel like I have energy, and I feel great. And one of the things that I do, I take care of my body. So body is like, I'm not going to say it comes first because it's like there are many steps, right? It could be 7, it could be 9. I don't know. 7 is a good number. So I could say 12, 15, but that would be too much for people. So when you take care of your body, when you exercise every day, when you exercise, for example, that it's going to get you to a better state. Your body releases endorphins, serotonin, oxytocin, several chemicals in your body that are going to make you feel better, right? And when I exercise, or when you exercise, if you're listening to this, I mean, that's the chemicals in your body, but you're also building muscles. You're getting stronger. When you exercise, you practice resilience. Why? Because you're putting a little bit of a stress in your body. And if you're building muscle, if you're getting weight, you're preparing your body to be more resilient. When you exercise, you recover faster, right? So when I think about my body, I think about exercise, I think about nutrition. The food is information for you. So every time you eat, right, that's information for your body. That's food for your cells. All the nutrients from the food, they go to your blood mainstream, and they go into inside your cells, and the mitochondria create or produces ATP, right? And ATP is energy. Energy for what? Energy to be standing right here talking to you, Gina. Energy to carry the bags when I go to the supermarket. energy to smile, for everything. So that's really important, the food that you put in your body. And the third thing I would say, in the physical part, sleep, right? So sleep is not a luxury. Like, listen to me, sleep is not a luxury, it's a necessity. When you sleep, many things happen. Toxins, your body releases toxins, so it repairs and grows. Your memory consolidates in the hippocampus. So many things are going on when you sleep. So you gotta sleep. So that's the first blueprint. But maybe you have a questions about that.
No, no, this is good. It's like I love sleep. Before I was having insomnia, I don't know. I think it was just because my mind was thinking, thinking, thinking. In the early stages of entrepreneurship, you just want to like create, create, create. So my mind was not resting at all. And I'm like, why can't I sleep? But then I realized that exercising at night for me,
Oh,
this is
well.
helped me sleep better
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I was tired. So that does help. But I love sleeping because my soul goes and explores different places.
yeah.
I used to have nightmares. I no longer have nightmares anymore. It's nuts. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's because I'm actually sleeping much better now.
Oh,
And
that's good.
yeah, and so sleep is very important.
That's
Now,
good.
yeah. So why is mindset? Because I know we were talking about mindset before.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a critical factor in achieving both personal and professional wellness.
Okay, that's another part of the blueprint, the mind, right? So this is what's going on. The way you think determines the way you feel. The way you feel determines the action that you take. And the action that you take determines your life, your future, or whatever, your dreams, the quality of everything in your life. So everything starts with a thought. There's something, I think it was last year when I went back to school again, and I did this program from Amen University, from Dr. Daniel Amen, and he's been taking pictures of the brain for like 30 years. And he talks about the ants, the automatic negative thoughts. So we have, according to studies, Gina, we have around 60,000 thoughts. So can you imagine that? That's a
Wow,
lot of thoughts
it's a lot.
a day. I mean, I'm okay. I'm not like, it's not a week, it's not a month, a day. So as soon as you start thinking, right? 60,000 times. And from those, 90% are the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So I'm thinking 90% of the time, the same thing. Like, am I going to find a partner? Am I going to lose my job? Like, all the time. And 80% of them, I mean, you heard me, they're negative. 80%. So, I have 60,000 thoughts, and 80%, I'm thinking negative things. That's the automatic negative thoughts because I'm not aware of them. So that's your mind. So imagine if 80% of the time you're thinking negative things. That every time you think something that's associated with one emotion. So negative, of course, I'm going to feel angry, sad, depressed, whatever it is, my emotions are for that thought. And then what are the actions that I'm going to take? Nothing, or bad actions or bad relationships. So it is really important. And I would have to say that for me, mine, it's on top of everything. Because if you can change your mind, if you can change your thoughts, if all the time I'm thinking I'm not a good person, I don't deserve this, I'm not going to take care of my body, for example. Right. But if I'm thinking, yes, I'm amazing, I can change lives. If I want to change life, I have to take care of myself. So that's self-love. So everything starts with a thought. What do you do? Because, I mean, okay, so maybe you're listening and you're saying, Danita, okay, that's beautiful, but what do I do? I'm like, you have to be present. You have to live in the present moment. You need to practice mindfulness. So you're aware of the thoughts, and then you can reframe them, and then you can change them. And then you can say, okay, so I have this belief that I'm not good enough. How can I change it? Okay, I'm good enough. I love myself. I'm capable of everything. And then you reprogram yourself, right? Right here in front of the mirror, you say, I love myself. I accept myself just the way I am, or whatever you want to reprogram. And you keep saying it over and over until you become it. not until you believe it, until you become it. So for me, that's the mindset part, right?
Yeah. So I was sharing with you earlier too that when I became sober, I didn't see any recovery coach, sobriety coach. I didn't, they maybe were out there, but I'm not sure. I sought out a mindset coach who helped me reframe my thoughts, who helped me with my limiting beliefs, who helped me change
Mm-hmm.
my own story. So I had to think, I had to reprogram myself completely. And so I was doing these practices every day. And what it is a practice. Like I was practicing, and then it just becomes part of your life. And then
Mm-hmm.
you kind of forget like how you used to be. You're like, oh, wait, I used to have those bad thoughts about myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to say so many negative things to myself, like,
Yeah.
you're so ugly, you're so fat, you don't look good, your hair is dull, why? Why am
Mm-hmm.
I saying these things to myself? And then of course I'm gonna embody them.
Mm-hmm.
So I changed my words, and I'm saying, no, I am capable. I am worthy.
Yeah.
I do love myself. And the more I practice it, and like I feel like I've embodied it now, and I love
Mm-hmm.
it. I feel much better.
Me too. Me too. So when I came back here 3 years ago, my friends who have been my friends for like 20 something years, because I used to live here in Atlanta and I lived in Colombia for 12 years. And when I got divorced, I'm like, I'm not even from Colombia. I'm coming back to Atlanta. And I had, my condo here. So I moved back. And my friends were, I mean, I was sad. I was crying, I got divorced. I didn't have dogs anymore. My pool house, my motorcycle, I was riding a Harley Davidson. And but still, I I was positive. Like, okay, this happened for a reason. I cannot see it right now, but if I see my past, everything happened for a reason and everything has been for the best. And my friends started like, you're toxic positive. I'm like, I'm not toxic positive. I'm just, I see the good in every situation. And I was talking with a friend several days before. And it was funny because, we were talking about my ex. And she's like, no, he's a bad person. I'm like, no, he's a good person. I mean, everything was great for 7 years until it wasn't. He made mistakes. For sure I did. I mean, he did something that I wouldn't have done, but it's okay. I think he's a good person. And she's like, he's a bad person. You don't remember what he did. He did this because he started like calling my friends like to talk bad about me, but they were my friends. And I'm like, oh my God, I completely forgot about that. And the reason is that, I mean, I don't have to uh, cling on the bad experiences. My this is related to my marriage. It was a very good marriage. We did have communication problems, yes, and it ended up in divorce, but it gave me so much. And if he wouldn't have made the decision to separate or to get divorced, I wouldn't be here, Gina, talking to you, recording 100 episodes for my podcast, teaching classes for older adults, helping women, in the United States. I'm involved in the Latin community. So how can I have a grudge on him? I can't. So I think it's a beautiful way to see life, because when you have a grudge or when you are envy or when you have these bad feelings, I mean, you're the only one who's going to be hurting. The other person is like happy with their lives. So I don't know. Okay, I took the time to explain that.
No, that was great. Yes. And I'm grateful for my ex-husband. I was just like, wow, if he didn't, if we weren't married like this, I wouldn't be exactly where I'm at today. So it's like, thank
Mhm.
you from afar.
Right, right, right. Thank you. I love you. I don't want to see you anymore. Yes.
Our souls ended our contract there, and that's it. Can you explain what the change mastery code, if you haven't explained it just yet, and how does it help build resilience and adaptability during times of change?
Oh my God. I think we were talking this morning in the other episode that I was recording for my podcast, and we were talking about resilience. And, and I want to talk about that because if you want to thrive in life, you have to be adaptable. Oh, there is a book, I don't have it right here, but there is a book that I was reading, and it's about this guy, Anthony Pimplona, I think. And every 2 pages, he writes a letter to their kids because he thought he was going to die younger. So the letters are, advice. And I love it because one of the things he said is like, write your values on stone, but your opinions on sand. And what it means is that you have to be flexible. You have to be, or I mean, you don't have to. We get to be flexible and we get to adapt. And that's the beauty of it. If you see all around it, like, we're in fall right now. So the leaves, they fall and then they grow and then they fall again. So everything in our life, the way we look, everything is changing and we have to adapt on that. So when you want to thrive in life, when you want to have a healthy and happy life, you have to adapt to change. You have to adapt to whatever snowball life is going to throw you. But because as we know, adversity is going to happen, and most likely you never know when it's going to happen. You lose a loved one, you lose your job, you have a chronic disease, whatever it is, something is going to happen to you. It is. But the more adaptable and the more change you can practice, the better it's going to be for you. And that's one of the things that resilience people have. So resilience is how you bounce back stronger from any situation. And when you are a resilient person, you can adapt and you're flexible. So you don't carve anything on stone, but on the sand. So you know that you can adapt to any situation.
That's right. Yeah, you can. And I always say that if there's a challenge that is presented to you, take on that challenge because
Mm-hmm.
that's going to help you grow. For me,
Yeah.
it was like, okay, public speaking. I hated it, right? I was like always nervous and just like, oh, I'm going to forget what I was going to say. I'm going to turn red, shake, throw up. But it's okay. Let me go through it so that way I can
Yeah.
go through that fear and then come out becoming more resilient.
Yes.
And
There is a phrase from, and I love it, from my girl. It was a TV series, a funny comedian series. And she said something, or somebody said something in the series that said, the only way to go through it is to go through it. I'm like, oh, I got goosebumps when I heard that phrase. It is the only way to go through a divorce is to go through a divorce. The only way to go through, a job loss is to go through it. Yes. So I really embrace change in my life. And I kind of like uncertainty. It takes me out of my comfort zone. Comfort zone is good. I mean, your brain is always going to try to keep you in the comfort zone. Why? Because, nothing bad is going to happen to you there. So it's easier for us to stay and watch Netflix, or instead of, working on a new project, because working on a new project, I don't know if, if I'm going to have clients for that project. And then I don't know how am I going to sell this project, but nothing good happens in the comfort zone. Everything that is good, it's outside, not inside, not watching Netflix, not doing anything.
yeah,
So,
I think we're here to create and learn. I mean, we can
mhm.
always create and we can always learn. I mean, there's like an infinite amount of information out in the universe that we
Mhm.
can tap into. And I always ask my spirit team, help me out. What's next? Help
Yeah.
me. That way it aligns to my heart and then I just go for it. I just go for it. Yeah, and I've learned that ever since I just go for it, so many doors open up and I'm like,
They
okay, I'm gonna
do.
go for that. I'm gonna go for that. I'm gonna go for and
Yeah,
it gets fun. It's
I
fun.
know it is. There is, now that you talked about your spirit guides, right? There is a book that is called Hiring the Heavens, and I absolutely love it. Like
Yes.
it. Have you read it?
I haven't read it, but I've heard of it. Someone shared
Okay.
it with me, and I'm like,
Okay.
yes, yes,
So I'm
please
gonna
share.
share it, and this is for me. I don't take it like it's God, because it could be universe. So if you're listening to this and you don't believe, you're not Catholic, like it doesn't matter. I think the idea of like us being part of something bigger is there, right? That this is for me. So the book, basically, I'm gonna summarize it, but the book is it says that in heaven there are like a bunch of people waiting to be higher, and you have like an American Express is called Angel Express, right? And you can hire them and it's limitless, right? Limitless. So last year I got the audiobook from one of my friends and she was like huge on it. And I came back and I had a presentation because Coca-Cola hired me. And I was really, really, I love public speaking. It's okay. But still, every time I go up on a stage, I get nervous, right? At the beginning. However, it was Coca-Cola, right? So I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna be in a big stage. And I told her, can you hire somebody so everything can flow? And everything was perfect. So I came back because the book tells you that you can call on them, but maybe start with something small, right? So I'm like, I had and I'm sorry for my English if sometimes if you listen to me, maybe I'm like Sofia Vergara with my accent. Just bear with me,
Oh, it's
Just
beautiful. I love it.
I'm just gonna tell you, just like she said to her family in Modern Family. Do you know how smart I sound in Spanish? I'm just gonna tell you that, just in case you don't understand what I'm saying. But bear with me. So, I was in my bathroom, and for 3 months, the curtains, the tube, the curtains, they came down. And I would go up and I just couldn't make it happen. I cannot be so stupid. So I went to Target, I bought another one, and it kept falling down. And then I'm like a crazy person. Well, I'm gonna try this. Okay. So I'm hiring a spiritual, I don't know how do you say, like a person who can do everything. Like you hire for everything. What
A
would that name be?
handyman. Like a
A handyman.
handyman.
Okay. Like in Spanish, it's a todero, like all. Okay, so I hire a handyman. Like I'm hire a spiritual handyman. Help me with this. I'm laughing. I'm on top of my bathtub. Like, okay, I'm gonna fall at some point, but I did it, and it's been a year, and it's still there. And you know, this is about believing. This is about believing in you, how capable you are, that you're part of something bigger. We're not here alone. Uh, we're all related, the plants, the animals, just like Avatar, the movie. That's how I feel it. So now I have 4 people in my business. They're spiritual guides, right? So I have like a social media content guy. I mean, this is all fake, but what I started doing is I sit down in my living room, in my dining room, and I look at Rory because I gave the names to famous people, right? That I know they're good at it. But for example, in one case, I have a friend, Carlos, and he's very good at sales. He's the VP of sales of a company. So I'm like, Carlos, what are we going to do about sales? How are you doing? So they have a name, and I ask them, not in front of them, but I asked the universe, okay, do you think Carlos want to work with me? And she's like, yeah, okay, I can feel it. So he's part of my working people. So that's what the book is about.
Yes, I love it. And then I guess the book also says, someone told me this anyway. Maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that they just want thank yous. That's all.
Mhm.
You pay them
Yeah.
back with thank yous and gratitude.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love hiring my
that's
spiritual team.
beautiful.
I'm like, help me out. And
I
whenever I get
know.
stuck in front of the computer, like, oh, either the computer is too slow because the internet connection is not good,
Mhm.
or I'm stuck on a project and my mind is not thinking clearly. When I step back from the computer and maybe I'll just go ahead and do some breathing exercises,
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
swear to you, I come back to the computer and then like magic, like whatever questions
yeah,
I had in my head, and they were all answered already. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
this is great. So again, that stillness and tapping into your divinity, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's just asking, Gina, it's just asking. I think I heard several times like the quality of your life depends on the quality of the questions that you ask. ask. And this is about yes, asking the universe or God or whatever, but it's asking yourself, like, if I'm feeling this way, if I'm thinking too much about one thing, okay, so is it my God telling me that I shouldn't be doing this or I should be doing this? So the more you're aware about what you're feeling, about your thoughts, the better answers you're going to have in your life. And I want to talk about gratitude. I don't know, do you have another question for me?
No, no, just yeah, we'll let it
I'm
flow.
gonna
Let
keep
it
going. Okay.
flow.
Because in every framework that I build, it doesn't matter. I mean, everything is around wellness, right? Um, Gratitude, it's one of the blueprints, right? When I think gratitude is one of the most amazing things that we have. We don't even have to pay for it. When you're a grateful person, you put yourself in a different state, in a different vibration. The more grateful I am, the more good it comes to life, right? To my life. And I think it has to do with because I'm being grateful for everything. So, like every time I wake up, I open my curtains and I'm like, oh, good morning in this accent, good morning. And I treat like I say to my fake plants, good morning, and to the real ones, good morning, because I don't have a pet. And I think plants are the new pets. So, anyway, but I'm really excited about being alive. And I say thank you because I'm alive. And then, while I'm cooking, I'm like, oh my God, I can cook. I have food. I have a roof. I have health. I, I mean, there's nothing not to be blessed for. When something doesn't happen the way I want to, it's like, okay, I'm grateful. Okay, okay. Like for example, I don't know. I some time ago, I had a meeting with a company, and I mean, they agreed for me to meet with them, and then I put together a proposal, and it was like a 20-page proposal. So, and they never talked to me again about that, right? And what I thought is like, okay, so that's good. It's not that I missed, the opportunity, a potential client, is that I know I have to be more concise. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to be learning how to do my proposal. So you see, when you're grateful and you can see the beauty of everything, and we were talking about it before, you put yourself in a different state. And it's when you're grateful and when you're aware of that, you're in the present moment, which is another blueprint. You get to be in the present moment. And when you're in the present moment, when we have all these thoughts, they're never about something in the present moment. There's something from the past or something from the future. Like, am I going to find somebody and or why did I marry this guy or whatever it is, right? It's never about the present moment. So when you're grateful, you put yourself in the present moment. And I'm not going to say there's nothing wrong in the present moment, but the only moment that you can do something is right now. And when you're grateful, you're most likely in the present moment. So for me, grateful is a practice that is so simple, just be aware what you have and what you don't have, right? I've been single for 3 years. And I mean, sometimes I'm longing for a partner, but I get to go to bed. I shouldn't be doing this at 12 o'clock working on my project. And I get to wake up anytime that I want, going to walk anytime that I want. I'm going to all these events. I'm part of the Emory board. I'm part of the nonprofits. I volunteer. Well, so I'm being grateful because I don't have a partner right now. So I'm taking the most out of the time being by myself and working on myself. Not not that I'm saying like I don't want one, but
I mean, the most important relationship is should be with ourselves, right? And then once
Yeah,
we love ourselves, and then we can really start loving and looking out,
agree.
looking for
Yeah.
a potential partner in the future or something. It's interesting. I'll have to share this story with you. So, and I know my audience has heard this story probably many times, but I'm going to share it with you anyway.
I love it because I haven't heard it.
Because you haven't heard it. So in my early sobriety, I said, no, I do not want to date anybody. I've already was divorced and I'm just like, I'm going to focus on myself. So that's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
But I was starting to go to church, because I wanted to learn more about God. This is the path that I was being
Mm-hmm.
taken. And so there was a prayer box, and every week I would go ahead and write a prayer saying I want a family unit because I already have two children, from
Mm-hmm.
my husband. And so
Yeah.
I wanted to eventually have a family unit. But I was thinking in my head maybe 10 years from now because I was not done working on myself. I feel like I'm still not done working on myself. It's always a
Mhm.
continuous project. A best project that we could ever work on is ourselves, by the way.
For sure.
And so it's nuts because I was doing a lot of ministry work. I was doing street ministry, I was doing children's ministry, and there's this one little boy that just caught my attention because it reminded me of my son, about almost the same age, about at that time 4 or 5 years old. And I was just like, oh, he's so cute, he's so cute, and I would see his father pick him up, but I wouldn't pay really much attention. I didn't care. And it wasn't until during street ministry we were trying to gather all of the food so we can take to our homeless friends on the street, and I saw that the father talking to my friend. And I just want to say, oh, that, hey, I know your son. He's a good boy in the class. I just wanted to acknowledge that. And he's like, oh, you know him. And da, 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 da. But anyway, a week later, he had added me on Facebook. I'm like, oh, cool. Another brother, I was thinking. And then after that, then a week later, then he asked me, hey, I see that you have a son around the same age as my son. Maybe we can go ahead and get them together. And I'm like, okay, sure. That never happened though. We just had like coffee, and then next outing we had dinner together, and we just shared our stories, and it felt so comfortable, and I felt like, wow, this
Mhm.
person is really for me. But I'm like, whoa, 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 what is going on here? I'm not wanting anything. I just wrote these cards out for like not that long of a duration. And here this is already happening so fast, so fast, so fast. I'm like, oh, I wasn't ready for this. But the
Mhm.
universe, Gus, I say, God, universe, source, had different plans for me. And so I just went with it. I'm like, well, it feels so aligned. Let me just go with
Mhm.
it. Why not? And so that's what I did. And now I remarried in 2020. We got married right before COVID. We had to cancel our
Good
wedding. So
time, good time.
in February 2020, we had our wedding. Yeah. And everything's been beautiful since, but like my point is that, what was my point? I wanted to share that story because we
You
were
just
talking
wanted to
about,
tell me your story.
what was that point? Is that
We were
even
talking
though,
about being grateful
yes,
and
and oh yes, and then yeah, so I was like a gratuity box as well as a prayer
Mhm.
box, and so I would always share how grateful I am and my prayer, and then
Mhm.
just all tied together by me just sharing that out to the universe.
Mhm.
It was just amazing. So yes, talking about
So
potential
there is
partners
hope
out
for
there.
me.
There's
There is hope for me, right, Gina?
always, 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 always. Yeah, I
I
was
love it.
married. I
I
think I
love it.
was about 10, 11 years. I think I was married before. And
Mhm.
then, but we were separated like 4 years of that. So
Mhm.
it wasn't good at all. But I'm much happier now. When we
That's
try to look
good. That's
our
good.
best relationship is with ourselves. But yeah, but looking ahead, what is next for you and your company? Are there any upcoming projects, workshops, publications that we should be looking out for?
Yeah, well, I do a lot in Spanish, right? So I've been doing a lot of things in Spanish. Like I have a podcast and we're hitting 2 years on like at the beginning of January and next week our episode 100 and that's amazing. It's called Saludablemente Mujer. It's like healthy women, you know. It's been beautiful. The first year we started just my business partner and I talking about different topics around wellness, and then we started doing interviews to. I mean, every time we're doing interviews, like all these amazing stories that give us hope, right? And so that's very important for us. We're ready to take it to the next level next year. So I'm really looking forward to that, maybe more sponsorships and all that to make it grow because we have a very good product. And the more people listen to it, the more people we're helping. So that's one thing. The other thing is that next year we're coming with a new cohort for our coach group coaching program, which we launched last this year, and it was amazing, Gina. We had a few women, like a good group of women for 8 weeks. We did this online, so it doesn't matter where you are. And we're ready to launch in English as well. So I'm really excited. And I do coaching one-on-one as well, especially for women who are 40 plus and who are struggling and have adversity in their life and they don't know the right tools on how to manage that. So I help them on that. And well, my speaking business, which, I've been working on it for the past 6 months. I graduated from the Speakers Academy here and just, I hired two coaches to help me with my speaking business, like the business part of it. So I'm really excited about that, being on a big stage, talking to lots of people, and they can just do something about their lives, because I really would love for people to feel how I feel in terms of energy, of calmness. I always say that sometimes I stress because I don't stress. So this is my life. I should be stressing more, but I just like, I really feel I'm in the right path, and I've been helping so many people. And every time, for example, I'm on stage, women come to me and they say, "You give me hope." I'm like, I give people hope? Really? Oh my God. Like, I really have to do this in a massive way so I can, keep guiding people to a path of magic. I think that's the word. Yeah.
Magic. Yeah. Now, where can our listeners connect with you?
How?
Yeah,
They can
website,
follow.
social.
Yes. Well, they can follow me. My name is Yanira Puy. I know this is hard to pronounce. Hopefully, you're going to have all my handles in the description of the episode. You can follow me on Instagram. It's mainly in Spanish, but I do LinkedIn in Spanish and English, both languages. So you can see I do articles there, and I'm doing this program that is called Aging Strong. So if you're aging, which you are, if you're listening to me, you are. It doesn't matter if you're 20, 30, or 60, you are aging. It's a program about aging strong, and it's on YouTube. It's called Aging Strong. And next year, I'm very excited because I'm going to come up with a series for podcasts and YouTube about the mindset, because I think everything starts with a thought. And if you change your mindset, you're going to be able to create the life that you desire and that you deserve.
Yes, I love that. Well, thank you so much for being on my show, Janita. It's been a pleasure
Yay!
talking with you, and you're full of light and energy. And
Yeah.
yes, you do not look almost 52 years old. You look very
Thank you.
young. So I know you're embodying exactly what you're preaching, and I can see
I am. Yes.
it.
Yes. Gina, thank you so much for having me. I think it was an amazing conversation. I love your laughs, everything that you've been through. You inspire women as well. And I love that. So thank you so much.
Thank you.